Hello, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for being here. That was super sweet of you. In today's video, we are going to be doing something a little fun, a little unusual. I am not going to be setting myself up for success today, but that is okay because what better time to test some bad makeup than when you are self-isolating? Yes, I am social distancing, I am staying indoors, I am self-quarantining and being safe, and I hope that you are too. So today I'm going to be testing a full face of bad makeup. This is bad makeup for me. It doesn't necessarily mean it is bad makeup for you, and don't worry, I didn't go out and buy a whole bunch of bad makeup. I don't enjoy throwing my money away. This is all makeup that I have decluttered. If you have missed any of my decluttering / organizing series, I will link them all up here because it's a 5-part series and I decluttered everything by category and we got rid of a lot of stuff. But because I am me, I still am holding on to a lot of it that is just sitting in a shoebox in my apartment. So before I fully get rid of it, before I fully kick it to the curb, I thought, why not give this makeup one last chance? So if that sounds like something that is interesting to you, then please do subscribe and then keep on watching. So in case you are new here, I always like to do my eyes first. Well, I like to do my eyebrows first, but then I like to do my eyes for foundation. So the eyeshadow palette we are going to be revisiting today is the NYX Ultimate palette in Warm Rust. I actually used to always use this shade in my brows. I did it today too. How do they look? They look pretty good, right? A little bold, but that's fine. But I used to use this a lot, but then the more I started buying like ColourPop palettes and Anastasia palettes, I just found that this formula did not work as well as those, so I ended up kicking it to the curb, but we're giving it another chance today because I do think the idea of this is really cool. It actually reminds me of my Tati Beauty Textured Neutrals palette because it has 4 shades, but they each come in 3 different finishes, so similar concepts. So let's give this palette another chance. So I think I'll start by going into this matte neutral brown shade here and see how that goes on in my crease. Okay, that's a lot more subtle than I remember it being. Not very pigmented, but that's okay. Going in with a tinier brush here, and I think I'm gonna attempt to deepen that with this nice pretty burgundy shade. Pretty unique shade for a neutral palette. I like it. Okay, that's a good amount of pigment right there. Going back with our brush we used for the neutral brown, blending that a little bit. Looks pretty okay. That actually didn't blend badly at all. If I'm remembering correctly, I feel like it wasn't the mattes I had a problem with. It was more the shimmers because they weren't as foiled looking as I wanted them to be. So I feel like that'll be the true test once we get to the shimmery shades. What do we want to put on the lid for a shimmer shade? Let's do something a little bright. Let's go with a peachy shade. Why not, right? I'm gonna use my finger for this because I feel like that's setting it up to be the most successful. See, that just doesn't do anything for me. It's like almost going on like more of a satin finish than a metallic finish. Yeah, I feel like I'm having to put a good amount of pressure with my finger to even get the pigment to show up, which I don't love. Just the way it feels, even on my finger, feels like so much chalkier than like my favorite foiled shades, which I would say probably my favorite metallic shades are in the Tati Beauty Textured Neutrals palette, and this does not even feel anywhere near close to that. But let's try going in with the glitter finish of the same shade. Maybe that'll give us a little more brightness. This peach color here, and going in. I was gonna say this looks more metallic-y, but you could definitely see there's like glitter particles in it, but I think that eye looks pretty. It doesn't look bad, but it's not as easy to work with as other palettes that I have. All right, let me do the other eye and come back. All right, so I went ahead and did the other eye off camera, and I didn't have any easier of a time, but I did just want to mention that when I was putting on this glitter shade on this side, I tried just laying down the glitter first to see if it was pigmented enough on its own. It's not, but also I felt a little bit of scratching, and it happened a couple times when I was applying that glitter shade, so I did just want to mention that, but I'm gonna permanently declutter this eyeshadow palette. All right, shall we move on to eyeliner? I was surprised that this wasn't dried out, but I found this Eyeko London felt tip eyeliner pen in my decluttering bin. So I was like, okay, let's give this a try. The tip is not my preferred type of tip for eyeliner. I'm sure that's why I decluttered it. Just for reference, I usually use a gel eyeliner and I use like a paintbrush type of brush with it. That type of tip is easier on hooded eyes, but I am gonna give this a try. because I've heard good things about Eyeko. I just don't like the way a felt tip feels, but this is incredibly pigmented. Wow. I like that you can get really close to the lash line because it's very pointy, but at the same time, it does not glide like my paintbrush tip does. Yeah, see, I was gliding it and there's a little patch right there. Okay, I don't think that looks bad at all. I actually think that's pretty decent looking wing, but that took so much longer than it normally takes me to do my eyeliner. Oh my gosh, and I only did one eye. Yeah, so I'm gonna be sticking with my gel liner and paintbrush method because this is just too much work. Maybe if you don't have hooded eyes. I think it's because I have hooded eyes, so I really do need something that's like very glidey to go over that fold area. So maybe if you don't have hooded eyes, this might suit you, but for me, nope. Okay, that literally took 1,000 hours to do that other wing, and they don't look anything alike, so I'm just gonna need you to ignore that for the rest of the video, and we are going to move on to some face products. Let me explain what's gonna happen next, okay? So I'm going to be using a primer that I have decluttered, but I am not going to be using a foundation that I decluttered, because how can we tell if the primer is good if we're using a foundation that is bad? You know, does that make sense? So the primer is going to be a bad primer, and we're gonna see if maybe it's not bad anymore, if the foundation looks good on top of it when I use a good foundation. You get the plan. All right, let's hop into it. The primer that I decluttered is the e.l.f. Hydrating Face Primer. And so if I'm remembering correctly, I remember using this primer and just not feeling like it was all that hydrating, super silicone-y feeling. So who knows, maybe it was the foundation I was using at the time. So let's give this another go. Feels super silicone-y, but it is pretty slippy. All right, I feel like I'm pretty well covered with that. So I guess let's go in with my foundation. So my favorite foundation at the moment is the Revlon Candid Glow Anti-Pollution Foundation. So it's a hydrating foundation. So if my skin doesn't look hydrated, we will know that it is the primer. Okay, gliding on pretty nicely. It's honestly gliding on nicer than it normally does. Probably the silicone, but we'll see how it looks when it settles in. Okay, honestly, I'm kind of shocked. My foundation went on really nicely over that. It didn't separate anywhere, which I sometimes have the issue with foundations separating on me depending on what type of moisturizer I use. So that's pretty exciting. And yeah, I think we can move on. I'm gonna do my concealer real quick. It's not a decluttered concealer, but I will tell you about a concealer that I decluttered and I refuse to put on my face again because it makes me break out. It is the e.l.f. 16 Hour Camo Concealer. I'll tell you why I don't like it. It's incredibly matte, makes my skin look really dry. It's impossible to get a good amount of product out because so much comes out onto the wand and it squirts everywhere, and it makes me get little red bumps all over my eyes. If you have sensitive skin like me, I would not recommend the e.l.f. 16 Hour Camo Concealer in the original finish. I haven't tried the hydrating yet, so who knows, maybe I'll try that and that'll be good. But the matte finish, it's a no for me, love. The next thing I'm gonna be going into is my Physicians Formula Butter Bronzer. I used to love this. Clearly, she's well loved. Also, clearly, she's been dropped many times, and a lot of this is just broken pieces. But I think the main reason I got rid of this was actually because of how fragile it is. The way they have it pressed in here is like, it's not flat to the metal. There's like there's an air bubble underneath. There's space between it. So every time you drop this, even if you drop it like 2 inches off the counter, it will shatter. And I don't like that about it, but we'll give this another chance because this is like a cult favorite. Everybody loves this, so I definitely want to give it another try. Okay, I'm gonna be going in with my flat top brush here. It's like not very pigmented, but at the same time orange. I'm very suspicious. I think this is gonna be a no for me. Yeah, it's like not very pigmented at all, which is not a bad thing. I sometimes like having to build up a bronzer, but when I do build it up, it looks orange. Ooh, yeah, no, this is light. So they have like a few deeper shades. I'm using the lightest shade, which you think wouldn't be orange. Oh, I don't know why I keep putting more on because it doesn't look good. I don't think it looks as bad on camera, but in person I am feeling a little orange. Okay, no, we're not gonna keep that, sorry. All right, let's move on to blush. I have so many blushes here in front of me that I have decluttered that I'm curious about. I have the Bare Minerals Gen Nude Powder Blush in Pretty in Pink. I have the CoverGirl True Blend Blush in Molten Rose. And I have this Morphe blush in Spirit. And this shade I'm like really in love with, but if I'm remembering correctly, this was like very, very pigmented and very hard to blend out. So maybe we'll try one on each cheek. Who cares? We're quarantined. We're not going anywhere. And I'm gonna try to get some of the excess off on my hand. Let's see how this goes. Yeah, it doesn't blend great. Oh, it's a bummer because it's a cool color. Yeah, it's going on a little patchy, unfortunately. Just don't think this is my favorite formula. I have other blushes that are a lot more foolproof that don't go on patchy. Like, I think I was able to blend this out pretty good. Well, now I'm wearing too much blush. See, that's the issue. You put more on because you're trying to get it to not look patchy, and then you end up with too much. Okay, yeah, no, I'm sorry, Morphe, you cannot stay. But I'm gonna wipe off my brush. And I think I'm gonna try the CoverGirl on the other side because I used to love the CoverGirl True Blend blush. That was like the first blush I ever bought myself when I first started wearing makeup. So it has a little sentimental place in my heart here. So I think I only decluttered it because I just like wasn't wearing it because I got all these blushes from ColourPop and Milani that I just like wore more. So I think that's why I decluttered it. But I like it because it has like different colored blushes in it here and you kind of mix them around. Ooh, that blends nicely. Wow, much better than the Morphe blush. It's very easy to blend. This one, I feel like I can see the sheen on my cheeks more than the other one. CoverGirl blush though I think is gonna make its way back into my collection because that's really nice. It's pretty. And I don't really have other tones like this. My Milani Luminoso is a little peachier. My ColourPop is a little more nudie brown. So this is like a nice like true pink. And I think it's coming back into my collection. All right, what do you say? Should we do a powder? It's the Coty Airspun powder, cult favorite of many. And the reason I decluttered this is because it's heavily scented, which I don't like. I have a sensitivity to smells. I don't recall this breaking me out. I think I just ended up getting an unscented powder in an Ipsy bag like a month later, so I just stopped using it. We're giving it another try today. So I'm gonna be going in the way I normally do my powder, which is with my Blendiful here. And I just dip that in. I don't know why I remember this being white. This is definitely not white. This is like it's like a fair colored powder. I don't know, it's interesting. Oh, that's more than I wanted to put on. Oh well, what are you gonna do about it now? I'm not gonna lie, not loving the way that's looking right off the bat, but I haven't sprayed it yet. Maybe that'll help. I don't know, I just feel like it's looking a little patchy on my corner here. I don't know if I mentioned it before. I use the Glossier Stretch Concealer as my concealer, which is like very, very dewy, very, very hydrating. So these might just not mix great together. Let me spray. This isn't the worst that my under eyes have ever looked, but I don't think it looks as good as my Revlon Candid powder, which I use now. I think that one is better. And I like that one is not scented. I don't remember this one irritating me. I'll definitely be sure to update the description box below. I'm gonna update the description box with how all of this wore. So if you're curious, definitely make sure to read that. Probably not gonna continue to use this. But let's move on to something more fun. Let's do some highlight. I have so many highlights that I've decluttered. I was having trouble deciding which one I wanted to put in today's video, which one I wanted to give another chance, and I think I'm gonna go with two because that's just how we're playing. I'm gonna do one on each cheek. We're not going outside, we're quarantined, remember? Okay, so the first highlighter that I decluttered is actually a palette, and it's from ColourPop. It is the Gimme More palette. Comes with 6 different shades of highlight in it. And the reason I decluttered this is because I felt like it drew attention to texture on my skin. I kind of prefer liquid highlights, to be honest, although lately I have been kind of missing my powder highlights. I just felt like this didn't make my skin look good. I would like to revisit it. This is my favorite highlighting brush. This is the Morphe M510, and the shade I used to like the most was the one on the bottom here. It's called Bigger and Better. Let's hope that this highlighter is bigger and better than before, and let's give it a go. I don't know, what do you think? I think like maybe on camera this is like a nice little like blinding highlight strobing moment for you, but in person I can see the texture on my cheek and I feel like it's making my cheek look dry. Let me spray it. That looks the same. Yeah, I don't know. I think this one is gonna continue to be a pass for me. It is really bright. So I think if you're into a really bright, blinding highlight, but if you have any sort of like texture on your skin, or if you have dry skin like me, I don't know. I don't think it's nose flattering, but I'm curious to hear what you have to say. How do you think my cheek looks? Be honest, it won't hurt my feelings. Please let me know in the comments down below. Let's try another highlight on the other side, and spoiler alert, it's from ColourPop too. I love ColourPop's products, but for some reason, the highlights just like don't look good on me. I don't know what it is. This is a Super Shock highlight in the shade Lunch Money. I feel so nice and it looks so creamy. Let's do this one on the nose. This is interesting because this one is so pigmented that it like covered up part of my blush. See, like the issue I have with the Super Shock is that on this side, like the powder highlight draws attention to texture on my skin, but it's like blinding. Whereas this one doesn't necessarily draw attention to texture on my skin as poorly, but like not really that good of a glow. I think I'm gonna have to pass on both of them. Moving on to lips. This next one may surprise you. This lipstick is from Pat McGrath. I know, credit where credit is due. She is innovative, she is an artist, she is so talented. I love Pat McGrath as a person, and I love her for having a Cyber Monday sale where she put these lipsticks out for $7 where they're normally $40. That was really, really, really sweet of her, and I appreciate it. Unfortunately, I was horribly disappointed in these lipsticks. I just felt like the formula was not very creamy. I know they're supposed to be a matte finish, but like felt like it was kind of hard to get it on, and it just didn't feel as luxurious as I wanted it to. But maybe let's give it another chance here. Oh, what? I'm confusion. Okay, were my lips just like not hydrated that day because this went on so easily? Oh no! I've wasted so much time without you. Oh dear, Pat, I'm so sorry. I take everything back. That felt really nice and creamy and like super opaque. I didn't have to go over it many times at all, and it's such a pretty color. All right, well, eat my words. This is a great lipstick. If she ever puts them on sale again, I highly recommend picking one up. All right, and with that, we have our finished look. How do I look? Let me know in the comments down below. Would you see me walking down the street and think that I am someone who is good at makeup? Cannot lie, I cannot stop looking at this highlight. Even though I said I wasn't gonna keep it, I am changing my mind in the moment because wow. Maybe just for pictures. Maybe this is like not a great in-person highlight, but like on camera. Whoop. Like look at it, it's so nice, wow. Okay, so we are permanently decluttering 6 items and we are bringing 4 items back into my collection. I'd say that's a win. This was a successful video. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please give it a big thumbs up. That helps the YouTube algorithm and it lets more people know that I exist. And if you could share my existence, that would be great. And if you'd like to subscribe, I would love to have you. I always answer comments and I always send you good vibes. Thank you so much for watching. Wash your hands. Bye.